Talk Kinsey about the Montecito Moaners. And
Wait, can I really just quickly say about King Charles? Sometimes I don't explain myself well enough. I just want to clarify that my point in telling you about the Daily Beast article was to say, while things are so dramatic and while things are, I guess, so tense with the royal family, my point is take a beat after you read something, because less than 24 hours after that Daily Beast story, we heard that King Charles was better, right? And doing well enough to engage with the public. So I guess my only point in telling it to you is that I know sometimes we see these stories and it makes us sad and overwhelmed, but the reality is they might not have all the details. They might not have all of the information, or they might not have correct information.
Yeah, and also, as you alluded to before, it might be also a bit of a non-story. I mean,
yeah.
in as much as you don't always have to join up the dots. In as much
Right.
as, you know, just because they're looking at funeral plans doesn't mean that King Charles is in grave danger. It's just because they regularly look at funeral plans, and that sometimes news outlets will want to join the dots because it will get them clicks, but that might not necessarily mean that that is completely accurate. I think, you know, that's a good lesson for all of us, actually, when we're dealing with a lot of stories that we might read that might appear to be clickbait on the surface. Okay, certainly not clickbait, though, when we talk about Meghan and Harry's staffing problems. Now, this week we heard that they'd hired a UK communications chief, so that the UK media could have access to all the information that they needed. And, well, I think that person will last probably in the job about 20 minutes before they are found to be unsatisfactory or can't bear working for them any longer. And other staffing problems for them as well. They can't find a CEO for American do-nothing Riviera Orchard, can they?
Yeah, so I want to debate with you about this. So the story from the Daily Mail is very much angled at Harry and Meghan can't find a CEO for American Riviera Orchard. The position's been available for over a month, and now Netflix has suggested to them, for the first time, they don't do this with any of their other brands like they could with Bridgerton or The Crown. They could have had custom crown sheets. They could have done Bridgerton dresses or Bridgerton silverware. And that kind of stuff exists, but not through Netflix. So the Daily Mail is suggesting that because Meghan is struggling to find a CEO, Netflix has said to Meghan, what if we partner with you and create the retail products and manage that side of the business for you? And that way, if you want to release pots and pans, if you want to release jam, you'll do that through us, and we will be that side of the business for you. Now, the Daily Mail presents this as a total fail. I think that this is a great opportunity for Meghan because Netflix has never done this before. So if it fails, Meghan can point the finger at Netflix and say, this is on them because this was an experiment that they failed. I think this is a no-brainer for Meghan.
Well, it is literally, as I said, American do-nothing Riviera. They have done nothing. And now Netflix, seeing the opportunity here, but also probably infuriated that things aren't moving on beyond making 50 jars of jam, have said, look, we've got to step in and try and take over and salvage this stuff if we want to get any kind of TV show out of them. So therefore, we'll step in and do it all for you. And Meghan and Harry, you're probably quite right, fair play to them, can once again sit and put their feet up and do absolutely no work whatsoever, which would reflect their Spotify podcast, where they did absolutely no work whatsoever, and any other project that they've ever done, which reflects the fact that they do absolutely no work whatsoever. So you're right. I mean, fair play to them. They could just sit on their backsides.
So you agree that this is not like a crushing story? Because so many people sent this to be like, oh, burn. And I'm like, really? This sounds amazing.
No, I think it is quite crushing. I think it is quite crushing in as much as it once again shows their inability to do anything. But I think that you raise a fair point when you say, well, actually, maybe it's quite savvy because, once again, they're going to end up loaded with money without actually having done anything in order to get it. I mean, I suppose it's a different grift to just slagging off your family right, left and centre, where you sit with someone who is a shadow writer and does all the work for you, but or sit with Oprah where you just answer questions. It's just yet another grift where they do absolutely nothing and get paid for it.
And if it fails and they already feel like things aren't going to continue with Netflix, they can throw Netflix under the bus. And you know, they look like they walk away with clean hands. Up, that was on them. I didn't want to use that vendor, whatever.
Do you think that Netflix are infuriated with them?
Well, I don't think they are right now because they have kicked them into high gear. I mean, Meghan has been shooting her show in Northern California. She did not shoot it at her own house because I think that the Sun reported that Harry and Meghan are struggling between one another about how much they want their children included in these upcoming projects. Meghan's okay with it because, as we've joked, there's another merching opportunity, but Prince Harry very much wants to shield the children. But, you know, there are cameras following them around these days, whether it's in Miami or Northern California. So Netflix has been generating some content. Has it taken 4 years? Yes. But again, this is the type of content Netflix wanted. They didn't want the gushy live to lead. They don't want the sappy stuff. They want Harry with his guard down, angry because he didn't score a touchdown or whatever it is they do in polo. I know it's not a touchdown, but they want that. They want those off the cuff moments because they know that those will generate media interest and public interest. So Netflix is getting their way right now. Whether or not people tune in, I think that that's a concern.
God, I mean, is it true that all that they have achieved to get to this point is 50 jars of jam?
Yeah, but there was a really interesting conversation on the Daily Mail's show and podcast where Richard Kay said that Harry and Meghan, all of these project announcements are just diversion tactics to distract from the fact that not much is going on. And I agree with you. 50 jars of jam is nothing. And our friends at the Daily Beast are trying to say that this is Meghan's Ivy Park drop. Now, Ivy Park was Beyonce's clothing drop when Beyonce was sending entire wardrobes to Reese Witherspoon, Kim Kardashian, and the Zendaya. And the big joke was like, who's going to get the Ivy Park drop next? I mean, these are $3 jars of jam, Daily Beast. You guys have had a week. Somebody needs a vacation. But I think it's not just to look busy. I think Harry and Meghan have to distract from negative headlines. It's not just a distraction to be like, we're not working still. It's, oh my gosh, there are so many negative headlines about us. So how can we distract from the fact that people are still talking about that time we refused to see the Queen days before her death?
I think you're being a bit unfair, actually, Kinsey. It isn't just jars of jam. There are a couple of lemons thrown in as well.
They're dead. Did you see Kris Jenner's post? They're dead.
I didn't say that they were fresh lemons. I just said that they were. Where do you buy lemons in the state? I mean, do Walmart sell lemons?
I'm sure Meghan picked them from her backyard, from the tree. But honestly, what a weird move.
Was the tree racist?
Probably. But what a weird move when Kim Kardashian got all of that negative media attention for poking fun at Kate. On my way to find Kate on Instagram, why would Meghan associate herself with that family right now? I would distance myself.
Well, absolutely. But then, of course, they've got a history of not distancing themselves from people who make salacious comments and who have been involved in some of the vile conspiracy theories about
that's right.
Princess Catherine. I mean, let's not forget that people who appeared in their Netflix documentary have essentially been trolling what's going on with Catherine Middleton and are still calling into Princess Catherine, I should say, and still calling into question video and pictures that we saw. So if Meghan and Harry aren't going to distance themselves from those contributors in their actual documentary, they're certainly not going to distance themselves from the Kardashians if there is a marketing opportunity to be had.
So shameless.
Yeah, and that's all that matters. It's all about the pots and the pans and the tea towels that are going to be sold. That's what they are resorted. That is where we are now. It's all about selling pots and pans.
I was going to make a Dash joke because that is Kim Kardashian's old store, but it no longer exists. So it's that's not an option.
Actually, maybe some of the pots and pans might end up in Walmart.
That would be a good get for her. Chrissy Teigen, who also got a jar of jam, had a line of pots and pans at Target, and they pulled them from her shelves after she told 16-year-old Courtney Stodden to go kill herself. Oh. Target said, "We no longer want to work with you." So it's just a bully club over here in California. Everybody that's a bully's getting a jar of jam. Ellen, I hope that strawberry jam tastes delicious.
Maybe it is. Maybe we don't know how nice the jam was. Look? Are you just bitter because you didn't get sent a jar, Kinsey?
No, but I actually did get sent a jar that I paid for from Buckingham Palace, and that was.
Well, did you see the story this week? Actually, that Buckingham Palace, some people have seen the Instagram ads have come up of the jam that Buckingham Palace sells, and people are saying that this is Buckingham Palace trolling Meghan and Harry, because actually, if you were going to buy royal jam, you'd buy it from Buckingham Palace.
Yeah. Well, my argument to that is that's just giving into Meghan's victimhood narrative. They did see a spike in sales because of Meghan's story. And as a social media manager, you are going to spotlight the product that's currently taking off. So I would not say it's trolling, because that just gives into Meghan Markle saying, "They're always so mean to me."
Yeah, that's true. Okay, now let's talk about another person that has left their lives, because
somebody that's not getting jam.
Someone that is not getting jam. Now, this is an ex-First Lady. Who is this?
Yeah, Sophie Trudeau. She was married to the Prime Minister of Canada. She was one of Meghan's, without a doubt, besties. And she did Meghan's podcast Archetypes, where Meghan goes into their history and really gushes about their friendship, how Sophie brought the kids to Montecito and they swam in the pool, and her and Sophie just giggled by the pool. Like, she's talked about the belly laughs and whispers between girlfriends, like, the way she does her very exaggerated descriptions. So Meghan has been friends with her for years. She's known her longer than she's known Prince Harry. Talks about how she admires her because she left an on-air career to marry Justin. I felt like when they announced their divorce, Meghan and Harry were going to have to pick a side. And I felt like they would pick Justin's because he's still a man that's in power, right? So Sophie really recently did an interview, I believe it was with The Telegraph, where she tries to distance herself from Meghan and says, I haven't spent a lot of time with her, and really tries to make it sound like there's not a good friendship there. When she appeared on Meghan's podcast, there's probably over 20 pictures that exist of them at different events, cheek to cheek, arms wrapped around each other. They definitely had a friendship / some sort of, I would say, good friendship.
So why do you think she's playing down their friendship now?
I think she's either trying to protect Meghan from the kind of scandal that is the divorce, or I think Meghan dropped her once the divorce was announced, because Harry and Meghan have one pursuit. Well, Harry and Meghan have two pursuits: money and power. And Justin, still as the Prime Minister of Canada, gives them a lot more power than associating with the ex-wife does.
God, so they work their way through friends and staff like there's no tomorrow, right?
100%.
Wow. Honestly, well, that's it. Kinsey, you are no longer useful to me. I'm ditching you from this broadcast. That is it. I'm saying goodbye.